Well, honestly, I thought making a top 10 list would be easy. We don't have that many horses that were fantastic yesterday, and 10. I was pretty picky when I put down the horses I thought should go on the top 10 list at the stable right now. I threw everything else out. I don't care about how often you're on it, what you did, where you're at. These are horses in my mind I think are top 10 horses right now. That may change next week with another qualifier. I don't know. But I thought that would be an easy list to make. So I'll just give you a list of the horses that didn't make this list. Horses I thought should be on it and didn't make it on the list. Let's start with Momo. 59 and a piece last quarter in 28 seconds, last half 57. Didn't make the top 10 list. My top 10 list for today. And she was very, very good yesterday. Again, I try to look at this list as if I was a critic of the stable. If Anthony McDonald was out here spewing this stuff, I want to be able to dissect it and call him on it. And that's kind of how I go about making this list, right? When it comes to Momo, she was very, very good. What's up?
I said a gate strap with it too. If you think you need one, I just put one in the bag.
I'll tell you, inside my office against the wall is one of them handy little gating poles. It was brand new. It's easy to pick up. It's right there. It looks like a shower curtain. It's different. It's right in the corner of the thing. Just grab it and send it down.
Okay.
All right? It was just Harry. He's wondering about, we're racing. Well, you've already seen the race by now, but I haven't. We're racing just for me and you tonight. Anyway, Momo didn't make it on the list. Not very fair considering how she qualified, but there are 10 horses I think belong on this list right now. 10 horses that I think will do very, very well this summer. 10 horses that I think have a lot to offer moving forward. Not that the other horses don't. I could have put 25 horses on this list, which is a little surprising considering how late it is in the summer. Not to say it's late in the summer, I don't mean that, but late along we are, right? We're at qualifying day now. There's 2.5 weeks we are going into the gold season for Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Ontario. So we're late in the game right now, and we still have a number of horses I can talk about. Momo's one of them. Another horse, Miss Meringue. Her qualifier was not her fault. I think everybody knows that. You must know that because I didn't get 1 ounce of hate mail about Miss Meringue. Miss Meringue just kind of got bounced off the gate. Jason Ryan just thought he'd throw her on, and she should have been fine. And at the last second, she just rooted her head and made a break. Not a big deal. She'll be fine next week. My Jazz has been training great. Her hobbles were just too tight the other day, and it was the first thing James said pulling up. I know they were too tight because she ran down behind and never does. So My Jazz should easily be on that list. Is not. Roy Hill is not on this list. This horse has been in the top 1, 2, 3, 4 many times throughout the winter and is not on the top 10 list this week. Tipsy and Dixie hasn't got a chance to qualify, but again, has shown a lot. 3 horses are going to shock you I did not put on the list. 3. Blue Monk is not on my top 10 list for today. Get beat at the wire. I'm 29 apiece, 2 minutes fine. I'm going to go with him next week. I want to see what he's all about. But I can't put Blue Monk on ahead of. I suppose I could have. I had a couple of them. I put a horse on the list that I will stand behind right now. And I love Blue Monk, and I'll stand behind him, but this is a top 10 list, not a top 11 list. So Blue Monk didn't make it on. Beef and Cheddar, I didn't put on the list. How could I? Just 5th or 6th in the qualifier. I know James said you got traffic, you got this, you got that. He didn't get on the top 10 list because he didn't storm home like we know he can. There's a number of reasons for it. I'm sure every one of them can be fixed easily. But nevertheless, here we are, Saturday, the day after the qualifiers, and I got 10 horses that made the list. Beef and Cheddar's not one of them. Another horse that I thought would probably be up around 5 or 6, he's at number 13. Braemar. He was fantastic, and I will continue to stand behind this horse. Every horse I'm mentioning to you, I believe, will be a useful, serviceable horse this summer. There's 18 of them here, but only 10 get to go on this list. And I believe Braemar, Beef and Cheddar, and Blue Monk didn't quite do enough to get on there. I was the reason that Braemar didn't get a chance to do enough, and it'll be the reason he doesn't next week. Also, I just want this horse to go easy. I'm not a big fan of just hiding them, letting them sprint. I'm not. Right? That's a job for James. That's a James job. But in this case, in particular this horse, I believe that is the right approach. and that is the approach we are going to take. I told everybody I believe Braymar's best races will come starting in August. I think he's got a lot to learn, but he learned a lot yesterday and was fantastic. But 10 are getting on the list ahead of him. Two of them, so-so qualifiers. One of them I made some significant changes to. Went out and zipped her a quarter. You're probably going to see that quarter online because one of our partners on One My Heart Hanover was Bob, and he was here today with his camera, and I believe you'll probably see her on there. She didn't come in at number 10. She came in at number 9, but number 10 is her stablemate. Not just in the stable, but in Amy's section. Frilly Fringes comes in at 10. Was her qualifier good? No, it was not. She's not good on the front. She just clearly doesn't like the wind. Didn't finish off her mile the way I wanted her to, but I know how fast she can go. I trained her in 2-1 here at the farm last week. Frilly Fringes comes in at number 10. I'm going to give a lot of the horses a pass in the wind. Would I like to see them finish up like No Free Lunch? Yes, but they're not all No Free Lunch. So Frilly Fringes comes in at number 10. Does she belong on here before Beef, Monk, and Braemar? I think so. I think I can make an argument for that. So Frilly Fringes comes in at number 10. She's been fantastic. I think the shoeing changes we made will go a long way to help her. I need to see a qualifier in 59 or 2 minutes out of her next week, and I will put her in a position to qualify in 59 or 2 minutes. But for now, Frilly Fringes comes in at number 10. Number 9, a filly. Both Frilly and her have spent time at number 1. But this week she's going to find herself at number 9. 2-5 last half and 59 wind or otherwise. Other than quicksand, I can't put you any higher than the 8 above her. One My Heart Hanover was good this week. I changed her hobbles, I changed her shoes, I changed her equipment. I went out and trained her a quarter of a mile today, and she was absolutely awesome. She'll be back in to qualify this coming week. I do believe she cramped up a little bit the other day. I noticed when I was going with her, she was really stiff over her back end. I believe that filly tied up the other day, so we are going to look into that. But One My Heart Hanover, looking at, again, I'd like to see a qualifier 59 or 2 minutes out of her this coming Friday or Saturday, whenever they go. Number 8, War We Welcome. I put her there even though she didn't qualify this week because she trained great. She's starting to look good, and I see it. It would be devastating for this filly not to be a gold filly, not to be a very competitive filly in Ontario. Not that I've seen all that Ontario has to offer, only a glimmer of what it has to offer. But if history is any indicator at all, I just think that War We Welcome is going to be a real player here in Ontario this year. And I brought her in at number 8. Number 7, now this is a list of horses that qualified exceptionally well, starting with Lincoln Hanover. Say what you want about Lincoln Hanover. He was not perfect yesterday. I think we can make some shoeing adjustments with him, but he clearly has a lot to offer. You might say, oh, he only went in 2-4. Yeah, well, it was windy out, and they get over the half in 4. You come half 59, 29 on the end of it. Lincoln Hanover was fantastic. A horse that was a little bit better than most had anticipated, me included, was That's My Girl. Didn't know what to expect. Would she get around? I feel that she could be shod better. I feel her chewing at herself, but I really don't know how to fix that issue. So it's not that I think another set of eyes will help. I think she was really good. The math attributed to that qualifier proves that. I think maybe it's more maturity than anything else. That's My Girl with a really, really strong qualifier. Oh, 202-3 last quarter and 28-3 into a vicious headwind. That's My Girl was better than I thought she'd be, and infinitely better than some people thought she'd be. That's My Girl looked incredible on Thursday morning. Another horse. Now, I see some people dumping some shares of Eternity Road. Here's the scoop on Eternity Road. I'll tell you right now. So Eternity Road has always started over on the right shaft a little bit, which would indicate that maybe there's something bothering him left hind. He's done that since the day we broke him. Here's the thing about lameness. It doesn't stay the same. Horses will get worse or they'll get better, but they will not stay the same. So when you see a horse from day one up until the time we could be fluoroscoping and looking at them consistently, there's a mosquito in here. It must be a fossil then because it fell off. You never see the injuries stay the same. So Eternity Road has consistently been over on the right shaft a little bit, which would indicate there was something bothering him. We got him fluoroscoped. There was nothing on the fluoroscope wrong with him. Continued on, still over on the right shaft a little bit. poured speed into him, starting to march when some horses started to show some issues, like Holy Chick, who ended up hurting herself. A number of horses, when you take the corks off and you start to push on the gas a little bit, you'll start to see those little cracks show, right? Those little cracks in the armor, so to speak. So had him looked at again, nothing there. Okay, fine. We push forward. Fast forward to May. We took him up and got him looked at again. A little more heat in that left hind. So the vet said, okay, here's the scoop on that left hind. You'll see a little bit of abnormal swelling on the front of the cannon bone up high. You'll see a little bit of swelling on the side and the back. Under ultrasound, the suspensory ligaments and tendons are perfectly fine. What has happened is this horse has got his leg caught in something when he was young. Kicked through a wall, got in a fence, who knows. Something has caused scar tissue around the leg, the front, the side, the back, all of it. That scar tissue, his leg has attached itself to all these ligaments and tendons, which it does. And as you go to push on the gas hard, those ligaments and tendons will start to stretch. The problem is, scar tissue can't stretch. It's like cement, right? So what happens is the fibers that are connecting the scar tissue to those ligaments and tendons, they don't stretch either, like a wool sock, and they start to tear a little bit. This is more discomfort than anything. We went out and I warmed him up on Wednesday. I went with him. He was a little over on the right shaft. Yeah, he was a little pinchy. But when we trained, he was awesome. He was just as good coming in as he was in the mile. He was fine. But there was still that little bit of heat, that little bit of swelling there. And it's bothering me to no end. So I was sitting here Thursday after the qualifiers. Everybody's pretty well gone. It's late in the day. I call the vet. I said, it's bugging me. Can you see this colt one more time? Have a look at him. Put him on the trailer, and I took him up there myself. Dr. McKee looked at the horse under ultrasound. She said, there is changes in that scar tissue. So it's starting to get a little more discomfort. I think it will, again, I don't want to use the wrong term. I thought I used it the other day. I thought it was fine. Reorganize. So it will reattach. It will, the scar tissue itself isn't coming apart or anything like that. But as he really pushes down, and last week he come half in 57-3, mile and 2-1 at Mohawk. He was fine in the mile. He was fine after. He was the same the next day. A little pinchy starting out over on the right shaft. But that scar tissue is starting to be disrupted. So the vet said, what about a pool? I disagreed. I said, we put the horse in the pool. His leg's going to cool out. We're going to go to qualify him, and he may rip that. I would rather know there's a little level of discomfort there and work with him in those parameters. Give him a few days off. Start sweating it, start jogging him, change the shoes. I believe the shoeing that we had on him precipitated some of this aggravation. So we changed him back to something a little more forgiving, a little more helpful. And people took that the wrong way. I could qualify Eternity Road right now. I'm certain I could. But I don't want to. I don't want to qualify him until that leg looks perfect, until he's comfortable, until the vet looks at me and says, yes, you're on the right track. That is when Eternity Road will qualify. So, some people have been trying to sell shares, and now everybody knows, but I'm not concerned. The one thing that was very clear that I asked the vet, and she was abundantly clear about, is there is no tearing of any ligaments, tendons, or otherwise in that leg. All that disruption, all that, any discomfort that he has is coming from the scar tissue. Now, that's nothing to take lightly. You still have to address it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You want to clean the heat out of that and keep it as malleable as you can. Sweat it, and light work on the track. So we'll start him off Monday with 2.5 miles. See how he adjusts over the next week to that. Get him vet checked again, and then go from there. So that's where we're at with Eternity Road. No real glaring issue to speak of, but there is something gnawing away at him a little bit. We're looking to combat that, and I think we can. Next, that is, where are we at here? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. That was number 5, number 4. The top 4 should be pretty easy to figure out looking at yesterday's and the day before's qualifier. I'm a Lovely Lady. For those of you who have been living under a rock and haven't paid attention to the exploits of I'm a Lovely Lady Training Down. Little erratic, has made the odd break, but it has a lot to offer. I did threaten some harm to James if he went slow with her on Thursday, so he did the right thing. Get over the quarter in 32, went a mile in 2.2. Very windy day, and she showed up in a big way, 2.2, and looked fantastic. I think this filly's going to do some damage in Ohio this summer, and I'm very, very happy for the people out there that say, no, she won't. Okay, fine. She went a mile in 2.2 in the wind. You can't change what she did. You can call me full of it and say that I don't know what I'm talking about, but, I mean, it's pretty clear to see on video that I'm a Lovely Lady, has a lot of talent, and is now qualified with a sparkling qualifier of 2.2 in the wind. Number 3, Walk on the Moon. I was debating about number 2 and number 3. There's no doubt in my mind who number 1 is right now. Number 2, number 3, both won their qualifiers. Both looked good in different ways. Walk on the Moon I brought in at number 3. 2 moved to the front, locked into late, sprinted up the inside, and nosed out another trotter to get the W in the qualifier, and looked good, but looks like a nice horse. And this is where I was a little conflicted. He looks like a nice horse. Number 2 is a nice horse. But when you're going to talk about naturally gifted horses who looks better, Walk on the Moon might look better, but I don't know if he wants a piece of GW Chrome just yet. So I opted for Walk on the Moon at 3 and GW Chrome at 2, but there is a razor thin line between the two of them. GW Chrome is very comfortable on the front end. He did his own work the other day. 2.2, last half 59 in a windstorm, whereas Walk on the Moon had removed to the front briefly and then been covered up again, got to stalk and get out and down the lane. It's not the same. You know, GW Chrome can do that. He can sit, he can follow, he can attack, but he took the bull by the horns I did with him, took the bull by the horns on Friday and did all his own work. And that is the only reason I put 1 at 3 and 1 at 2. These colts are very similar, don't look the same. You know, I'll call a spade a spade. Walk on the Moon looks like a better horse. GW Chrome has got a killer's attitude, and I think he is going to be a good horse for us in Ohio. One is in Ohio, one is in Ontario. They'll never meet, but both looked very, very good in qualifying. If you don't know who number 1 is, and it isn't a close number 1, it is a absolute number 1 right now. A horse that was hidden all winter. For those of you, I want you to remember to look back on this moment, because we never talked about this horse. He was always just kind of hidden. The guy that was training him did a fantastic job. Just kept him hidden all winter long. He just kind of looked like he was a member of the stable, not a killer. Didn't look like he was going to be the horse for the stable. You know, when you look at how good Blue Monk looked, how good Beef and Cheddars looked, they didn't make the list. No Free Lunch was absolutely ferocious yesterday. 27-4 in a windy day. Now, to be clear, the horse that I went by down the lane and opened up on, Blake had said was one of his nicer colts. Good looking colt too, and I really enjoyed being on the Costa show with Blake. You know, very different stables. Blake spent a lot of money at the sales this year, and I think he's going to have a great summer. He's got some really good looking horses. No Free Lunch was a horse that was sent here under our program, where breeders can send us horses and keep pieces of horses, and that's exactly what took place. Is that Daryl Kaplan, who bred this horse with his partners, ended up keeping a piece of No Free Lunch. Me, being the savvy businessman that I am, I sold all my shares over the last 3 weeks. But I'm really, really happy that a number of clients got involved with No Free Lunch. One client of ours that has had no luck for the most part over the last 2 years, maybe since he's met me, has been Brent Southall, and he owns a big chunk of this colt, so I'm rooting for No Free Lunch. But man, oh man, did he look good. You guys, I can't explain how windy it was, right? Maybe go back and look at the aged horse qualifiers from Thursday. Maybe that'll give you some idea. No Free Lunch was exceptionally good. And was merciless. When I moved him, he exploded, attacked, drove away from Blake's horse, and earplugs in. Now this isn't Blake's best horse. I just know he mentioned him in the 6 or 7 he mentioned. I remember hearing the name. Nice colt, nice gait, big strong colt. But No Free Lunch he's built perfect. He's not small, he's not big, he can sprint, he can move like a cat. He's also durable. I moved him twice in that mile, and he drove away to win 58-4 last half, 57 last quarter, and 27-4, and looked very, very good. So it looks like we're going to have a great year in Ontario between Blue Monk, Beef and Cheddar, No Free Lunch. You guys haven't even seen Adrenaline Rush yet, and he looks awesome right now. Adrenaline Rush. Better's Hope is still coming on. He's got to qualify in a week or so. I'm missing someone. I know I'm missing a big name too. Even a horse like Brilliant Corners. 57 last half, 57 last quarter in 27-4 mile in 2 minutes. And was reasonably sound of mind in the qualifier. Then you look on the trotting side, Walk on the Moon, Northern Blizzard, War We Welcome. Absolutely certain this will be the best year I personally, as a human being, have ever had in Ontario, and can't be any more excited than I am for Mario, Harry, and Kevin moving into the Ontario season. Then you look across the border for Jason. Ohio looks stacked also. Got a lot of horses going down there. I guess we don't know our pacers. Are they good enough yet? Nobody will know. We'll know soon enough, I guess, in a few weeks. But we don't know just yet. But when you look at the trotting side, man, oh man, just the horses we know. Like, let's not talk about Eternity Road, because I'm sure he'll be fine. But let's not talk about him. Let's talk about the ones we know. GW Chrome and I'm a Lovely Lady were absolutely exceptional yesterday, right? Miss Meringue might have made a break. She'll be fine. Mama Knows Best, also on that list. I miss another colt too. Can't think of it right now. Anyway, just a lot of power. A lot of power in the barn this year. And I know a lot of people say, you're just stoking the fire or whatever. A lot of these horses don't even shares left, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's already done. Just really pumped. And I know you guys can see it kind of eats away at me a little bit, right? Because I hear the whispers and it bothers me a little bit. I'm a human being. But at the same time, when I look at the roster we have, it's the deepest roster we've ever had. I think in regards to Ontario, by far the best group of Ontario breds we've ever had. It looks like a continuation forward for our luck in Ohio. And even Pennsylvania. A lot will be riding on what happens with Frilly Fringes, One My Heart, Hanover, Eclair AM, how strong they qualify this week before we make any final decisions on what I really think about them overall. And then we still got Braemar, a lot of question marks there. But I was pretty excited about how he looked. Looking to Indiana, yeah, we had Swandre the Giant, kind of. We broke him, trained him down, and sent him to Brandon Bates, and he campaigned him. But we have a That's My Girl, who looks fantastic right now. 28-3 in a windy day on the end of it. It was very, very good. Again, I would like to see another good mile from Fox Valley Britska. See Italian Grit bounce back. We're going to make a few little changes with him. Those are Indiana contingent right now, and then New York, Lincoln, Hanover. We won't talk about Surreal Love, who I thought was fine. We won't talk about So Admirable. Did a decent job on her mile. A few little wrinkles that we're hopefully going to be able to iron out of her. But I can talk about Lincoln Hanover, and he was exceptional. Our New Jersey horses haven't started yet. Off-Road Hanover, I think, is leading that charge. Tanzanite Tricks was okay. But she's not going to the Meadowlands. There's a number of horses there that are good, but aren't headed quite to the Meadowlands yet. Even horses like Argento. If he is or is not a stake horse in Pennsylvania, he's still a serviceable, useful horse. And, we could go on and on about this. We have well over 25, 30 or more horses right now that I think have proven or are well on their way to proving in the next week that they're going to be useful horses this summer. There are some horses, I'd be remiss if I didn't say there were some horses that probably will be turned out, that probably will need time. But how many bad horses, just bad horses, do we have? Come on, not that many. And even if they're bad right now, it's bad for a reason or they wouldn't be here. So I'm excited about what I've seen from the babies right now. Hopefully that excitement will be compounded next week. I didn't check the weather, but hopefully it's going to be a sunny day and a day that we can use to build some speed into these horses heading into the stake season. So we got a real good look at what we have. You're gonna have a real good idea next week. Top 10 list is all done. I think fair is fair. We got through 10 horses, and it was tough, a lot tougher than I thought it would be. We had 18 horses on the short end of that list. 8 had to be chopped off. We talked about them. We talked about the 10 that made the list. We didn't even get to talk about the tons that didn't. But we will. I'm going to give you a very comprehensive look at the 2-year-olds, what I think of them, where I think they'll be, what I think they'll be doing in a week, a month, 2 months from now. Same goes for the 3-year-olds. A lot to talk about still. I'll be back in just a minute.